Okay. You know that mental hamster wheel? The one where you're like replaying conversations, imagining the worst case scenarios,
Mm-hmm.
and generally just feeling, well, stuck in your own head?
Yeah, definitely.
It's overthinking, right? And I'm pretty sure if I could just quiet that noise, like 99% of my problems would just vanish.
That resonates.
Yeah.
Yeah. It often feels like you're problem solving, doesn't it?
It's
But actually,
counterproductive.
exactly. It often creates the very problems you're worried about. It chips away at your happiness, strains relationships, ramps up
It
anxiety,
just stops you moving forward.
totally hinders personal growth. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So that's what we're digging into today. We want to really get a handle on the roots of overthinking.
And more importantly, give you some, solid practical ways to take back control.
Right. The mission here is to give you that knowledge quickly, thoroughly, but without feeling like totally overwhelmed.
We'll start by defining what is overthinking, really,
Yeah.
and look at some root causes. Then we'll get into specifics, like how it shows up in relationships or with future goals or just trying to make a decision.
Right. Let's nail that down. What is overthinking? It's not just being thoughtful, is it?
No, not at all. It's when your mind gets stuck, like endlessly analyzing people, things, situations.
Picking apart every little detail.
Yeah, and creating these disaster scenarios that probably won't happen. And I think the crucial part you mentioned is the energy drain.
Oh, definitely. Spending all that mental energy on stuff that's completely out of your control.
That's the key. You rarely overthink things you can actually do something about right now.
True.
It's always the stuff where you feel powerless,
Oh,
like worrying what your boyfriend's quietness means or
or replaying someone's weird body language in a meeting.
exactly, or agonizing over exam results you can't know yet or all those hypothetical future problems.
It's like your brain tricks you in those stressful moments. It says, hey, all this worrying, it's useful. You're preparing.
Like you're covering all the bases.
Mm-hmm.
But the research suggests that's a real cognitive trap.
A trap. Okay.
Precisely. So while your brain might default to that churning when you're stressed,
Yeah.
a better way is to release control over the uncontrollable.
Challenge the thoughts.
Challenge the thoughts
Yeah.
and kind of cultivate trust in the process, This constant worry actually feeds negative states like anxiety.
Because the brain thinks worrying is doing something useful.
It misinterprets it, yeah.
This reminds me of that example, Lola and Athena, before the job interview.
Oh, right, good example. Lola gets completely lost in the what ifs.
Yeah, what if I mess up?
Yeah.
What if they don't like me? What if I don't get it?
Yeah.
All future worry, zero control.
Contrast that with Athena. She knows it's uncertain she might not get the job.
But she focuses on what she can control.
Exactly. She knows she prepared well, so she puts her energy into staying calm, being present.
So she can actually perform well in the interview itself.
Right, you see the difference.
Yeah.
Lola's just draining her battery, increasing her anxiety.
While Athena accepts the unknowns and focuses on being effective right now.
So the takeaway is, overthinking is often just self-sabotage, wasting energy on negative maybes instead of, constructive action.
And it's different from intuition, right? That gut feeling.
Totally different. Intuition is more of a feeling, an inner knowing. Overthinking is that repetitive dwelling, creating negative stories.
Gotcha. And the root causes we'll explore. Fear, trauma, perfectionism, and that need for certainty.
Those are the big ones, yeah. And we need to tackle that misconception, too, that overthinking can be helpful.
Like it makes you extra prepared.
People think that, but the benefits they feel, that's usually just from normal, productive thinking. Overthinking itself is obsessive, unproductive. It keeps you stuck.
Okay. So we know what it is, why it's not helpful. Let's talk strategies. Starting with that fear of failure, anxiety, stressing about the future, general worry.
Right, those I'll probably fail thoughts or the what if this never happens spiral.
Our sources call this a lack mindset. Like focusing on the worst makes it feel more real.
Exactly. It's like you're magnifying the negative possibilities by constantly looking at them. But there's a powerful shift.
Viewing failure differently.
Yeah. Seeing it as learning or redirection. Trusting the timing of things.
I like that reframe. Failure isn't the end, it's data. Or a nudge somewhere else. Takes the pressure off.
It really does. And there are practical tools. First up, journaling, but with that specific ask why method.
Okay, how does the ask why until it goes away thing work?
So when a worry pops up, don't just accept it. Ask yourself why. Like, I'm worried I'll fail this project. Why?
Because I don't feel prepared enough.
Right. then ask why.
Yeah.
Again, maybe it's because I doubt my abilities deep down.
Ah, so you drill down to the core fear or belief?
Exactly. And once you find that root, like lack of confidence, you can actually address that.
That makes sense. Peel the onion. Okay, second technique. An action plan, a structured one.
Yeah. Take the worry, put it at the top. Then a yes-no branch. Can I control this?
If it's no,
Then it's about acceptance, letting go. No action possible. But if yes,
then you map out actual steps.
concrete steps, what can I do? How? Where? What resources do I need?
I see. So you shift from vague worry to, like, practical problem solving.
Precisely. It's a counterweight to the hypotheticals. Empowers you. Okay, next is living in the present. Crucial for overthinking.
Because overthinking lives in the past or future.
Always. So the advice is, focus on just the next 24 hours. What's the very next logical step you need to take?
Don't try to map out the whole journey and every possible outcome.
Exactly. That's overwhelming. Just the next step. Our sources mention Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now for this too.
Right. Focus on the next paving stone, not the mountain peak. Okay, fourth strategy. Changing your mindset. Treating things like experiments.
Yeah, like trial runs.
Yeah.
It lowers the stakes massively. The example was starting a jewelry business.
Without needing it to be a huge success right away.
Exactly. It lets you try things without that crushing pressure. If it doesn't work out, okay, you learned something. Move on.
Less fuel for overthinking because the outcome isn't life or death.
Okay, next is manifestation, visualization, and affirmations. Might sound a bit out there to some.
But the idea is using them to actively fight negative thought patterns.
Right. Affirmations are like positive self-talk. We'll get to a list later. Visualization is mentally picturing good outcomes.
Instead of the disaster movie playing in your head.
Exactly. You consciously create the opposite scenario. So instead of worrying about a presentation bombing,
You visualize yourself speaking confidently, connecting with people.
yes. And even if it's not perfect, you focus on what went well, the lessons. It's like creating a positive overthinking spiral.
I like that. And this connects to the abundance mindset idea.
Yeah. Overthinking often focuses on lack, what could go wrong. Abundance mindset focuses on possibility, good fortune, learning from setbacks.
Like those affirmations, everything works out for me. I learn from challenges.
Spot on. It shifts your focus. And the last tip here is maybe the most obvious. Keeping active and busy.
A quick fix for panic, maybe.
It can be, yeah. It's acknowledged as temporary. But the logic is sound. Overthinking loves quiet solitude.
When your mind has nothing else to do, it worries.
Exactly. So distracting yourself with stimuli, exercise, hobbies, people, it just doesn't give overthinking the space.
And keeping a list of things you enjoy is smart. For when you're low and can't think of anything.
Definitely helps to have it handy.
All right, so that covers fear and future worry. What about overthinking decisions? Regret, second-guessing, decision paralysis? We've all been there.
Oh yeah, that paralysis often comes from fear of regret, making the wrong choice.
Mm.
But the sources make a great point. Not deciding is a decision, and life might just decide for you anyway.
That's a kick in the pants. Indecision isn't neutral, so how do we break free? First step, detachment.
Yeah, detachment in this context means stepping back emotionally, getting perspective, trying to connect with your gut feeling, what feels right now, rather than getting lost in future regret scenarios.
So separating yourself from the outcome a bit, trusting your present intuition.
Exactly. Second step, confidence, trusting your own ability to decide.
But how do you build that, especially if you've made mistakes?
Well, the advice is to make a list, even of small wins, small decisions you made that worked out. Build that self-perception.
Acknowledge your own track record.
And remember, you're the expert on you, your experiences, your feelings, your decisions are the most informed ones for your life.
Wow, yeah. We forget that, seeking validation elsewhere. Okay, third step. Mindset shift, tackling perfectionism again.
Yes, that done is better than perfect idea.
Yeah.
Often, we don't choose because we want the absolute best choice.
And perfect inaction isn't helpful.
Not at all. Taking action, even imperfectly, is usually better. And again, ask why to find the underlying fear. Is it past trauma? Fear of failure, letting people down.
And use visualization here, too.
Yep, imagine the decision made, things going smoothly, positive outcomes. Mentally rehearse success.
Okay, fourth step. Living in the present, but about past choices this time.
Right. Stop beating yourself up for past decisions. Your past self did the best they could with what they knew then.
Be grateful for the journey, even the mistakes.
Exactly. Gratitude for getting you here. Compassion for your past self.
That's kinder. Okay, fifth. Have faith. Embrace uncertainty. Seems hard when you're overthinking.
It does, but the shift is key.
Yeah.
Focus on positive what-ifs, not just what if it goes wrong, but what if it goes amazingly well.
Find wonder in the unknown possibilities.
Yeah. Cultivate faith that things can work out, maybe even better than expected. It reduces that fear driving indecision.
And finally, another action plan. But this time for after the decision.
Exactly. Instead of the endless should I, shouldn't I loop, channel that energy. Okay, decision made. Now what are the steps to make it happen?
Like the moving example. Worried about loneliness. Make a plan to meet people.
Right. Shift from passive worry to active planning. It creates momentum.
Okay, powerful stuff for decisions. Now, the last big area. Overthinking other people, relationships, self-doubt. This feels really common.
It's super common and damaging because it leads to that self-sabotage in how we interact. Predicting negativity can create it.
So first step, maybe the hardest. Communication.
Absolutely fundamental. It feels risky. Yeah, fear of conflict, vulnerability.
But our sources stress how communication resolves issues, builds trust.
And actually prevents future overthinking because you have positive experiences of working things out.
And that point about a partner unwilling to communicate.
Yeah, that's presented as a pretty big red flag for relationship health. Healthy connections need openness.
Okay. Second strategy. Use fear as your guide. What does that mean?
Instead of letting fear trigger the worry spiral, use it as a cue to consciously evaluate the situation.
With a pros and cons list.
Exactly. Take the time you would have spent overthinking and channel it into rationally listing the good and bad aspects.
Connects to that 5-year rule, too. If it won't matter in 5 years.
Maybe don't give it hours of worry now. It helps to gain perspective, see if the fear is truly warranted or just amplified.
Smart way to prioritize mental energy. Okay, next. Living in the present again, but about past relationships.
Oh, yeah. Dwelling on the past, maybe idealizing it, keeps you stuck.
Wasting present energy on something gone.
Totally. The message is that past doesn't exist anymore. Focus on what you can do now for your well-being.
Yeah.
Call a friend, read a book.
Engage with the present.
Right.
Fourth step, self-validation. How does this help with relationship overthinking?
It builds that internal confidence. When you can validate your own feelings, your own worth, you're less needy for external approval.
So you can challenge those internal doubts that say they don't like me or I'm not good enough.
Precisely. It's foundational. Our sources even point to a specific resource just on this. Okay, next. Detachment from situations, from people. Sounds cold.
A little. What's the real goal?
It's not about being uncaring. It's recognizing when you're overly tangled in things you can't control, especially other people's thoughts, feelings, actions.
Obsessing over them means neglecting yourself.
Exactly. Detachment is about healthy boundaries, remembering you can only control you. Let go of trying to manage others. Put energy back into your own life.
Okay, makes sense. And finally, affirmations again, as a direct tool here.
Yes, specifically to reassure and calm yourself when relationship or self-doubt worries start spinning.
Like armor against those negative thoughts?
Kind of. Consciously repeating things like, my thoughts do not reflect my reality, or I do not identify with my thoughts.
I am in control of my thoughts. I am safe.
Everything works within my best interest. I do not have to worry.
Instead of stressing, I am going to trust in divine timing. I am enough.
I only exist and focus on the present moment.
Yeah.
I am above all of my negative thoughts.
I am abundantly filled with positivity. I am at peace with all that has happened and all that will happen.
Yeah, a whole toolkit there. They're designed to guide your inner voice towards calm and confidence.
Wow, okay. That's a really comprehensive look. It definitely drives home that overthinking while it feels necessary sometimes.
It really just creates more problems.
Yeah, it hinders well-being.
Yeah.
But the good news is there are these practical strategies.
Absolutely. Tangible things you can do to manage it, to regain control, understanding the roots, then applying these steps.
Like the journaling, the action plans, present moment focus.
Mindset shifts, visualization, affirmations, communication.
Detachment, self-validation, staying active. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It covers different angles.
And applying them consistently with intention. That's how you break the pattern, whether it's future anxiety, decision loops, or relationship worries.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe a final thought for you listening. Think about just one area where overthinking usually grabs you. What's one small thing, one action inspired by our chat today that you could actually do today to start shifting that pattern?